You feel this nervousness on the phone there?
Sir, I've been trying to make an urgent phone call up there.
Well, I don't think it's something I want to do on an overseas phone.
You gotta make some phone calls. Hang up the phone. Prank caller.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to Packernet After Dark. This is the call-in show with the Packernet Podcast Network. If you'd like to call in, if you'd like to participate in the show, please feel free to do so. Phone number here is 608-501-0718. New callers go directly to the front of the line. We've only got 7 calls. That's just about enough to go ahead and do an episode, so we will do that. And then make sure you don't call in until noontime, game time tomorrow, because I generally will skip over all of those calls, because as I've said before, you don't want to hear like, I'm predicting a win, and we know the score, we know who won. It's especially bad when it's like, we're going to win by 20, and then I got to get on here and it's like, no, dude, we lost by 5. Thanks for your freaking input, though. That was great. Way to start the show. You know what I mean? I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong for it, but I don't care. Let's get started. We've got Nico.
Ryan, just driving around, my day off again, and listening to your old podcast about all the dumb things the Bears have done.
Okay.
Going down the line of GMs and who didn't draft this guy, so he got rid of him when he got hired. It's a great story.
It's good stuff.
But it kind of made me think of another reason to hate the Bears.
Okay.
Right? I remember yesterday you said something about feeling sorry for him. Don't feel sorry for him. I think I said this yesterday, because I know I called him yesterday. I don't remember what I said. Don't feel sorry for him. They brought it on themselves, right? But another reason to hate the Bears is that they didn't draft Pat Mahomes. Hear me out.
Yeah.
Now, I know Bears fans will be like, we draft Pat Mahomes, we'd be good. No, you wouldn't have. You'd have ruined him just like you've ruined every good thing in life. He maybe would have played Caleb Williams-esque, but it would have been on the Bears, and he just would have gotten beat up and bruised. And when Pat Mahomes doesn't have an excellent offensive line and a wonderful tight end, it kind of sucks. I think we all know that. Not to mention, I'm sure you've seen the memes where these people say, I just got my new Chiefs jersey. They open up the bag, and it's a ref's shirt. Yeah, there's a little bit of that going on, too. But if they draft Mahomes, and the Chiefs don't draft him, and then we don't get like 10 years of the Chiefs smiling and looking like we want to punch him in the face. So don't ever feel sorry for a Bears fan, because I don't know if I mentioned this stuff there, but I think I did. They get one center. They'll be like, we're back into the North. They'll flip this woe is me bullcrap attitude in a heartbeat. So just keep pushing on their neck. You know what curb stomp is? It's going over. Like, the beating, just don't stop. Curb stomp them. They don't deserve it because they're stupid. I know, like, a few Bears fans, and one of them is smart. All the others are a bunch of freaking morons. So I hate the Bears even more now, because if they didn't draft Pat Mahomes, we wouldn't have a stupid Chiefs to look at. God, I hate the Chiefs. I think I hate the Chiefs more than I hated New England. They're just so hateable. I don't know. It's stupid face. It's the way he runs really slow and straight up, and then no one can catch him. Like, I know he's not fast.
No.
I can catch him.
That is annoying.
I'm not fast. It's just, I'm so sick of the Chiefs. I don't wish bad on any person, but maybe just the entire team.
Maybe a little bit that guy, though. Yeah.
Anyways, go Packers.
So a couple things. First of all, I agree. Pat Mahomes is weird the way he does things. He doesn't look athletic, which is annoying, because it's like, obviously, the things he can do with his body, especially his arm or whatever, are really impressive. But you watch him, and he seems really, really not athletic. And so you're right. When he takes off and runs and picks up 10 yards, it's like, you've got to be freaking kidding me. You absolute freaking bums couldn't catch him. And it happens all the time and all the time and all the time. Couple things. First of all, as you know, I'm not 100% a believer in the Bears are ruining everybody. I think that Pat Mahomes probably would have been a really good quarterback and helped the Bears. But let's just go along with what you're saying. I think the universe would have course corrected one way or another. Number one, either the Bears would have drafted him and ruined him, and the Chiefs would have ended up drafting somebody else, and that somebody else could have been, I mean, we could say Mitch Trubisky, maybe, if we really want to push it and say they would have made Mitch great. That's a stretch. If not, they may have gotten Justin Fields and made him great. And if not that, then they absolutely would have gotten Caleb Williams, and Caleb Williams would have been probably even a better version of Pat Mahomes. You know, because if they could turn Pat Mahomes into what he is based on what he was, which is like, what, a early-ish to mid-ish, I don't even think, was he top 10? I thought he was like 12th or something. Caleb, number one by a mile. You know what I mean? Plus, we would be just starting that reign of hell as opposed to being, I don't know, maybe halfway through the reign of hell from Pat Mahomes. I'm hoping, by the way, Pat Mahomes is a little bit like Russell Wilson. You know, Russell Wilson was a really good quarterback. I feel like everybody forgets that or pretends they never knew that. He was a really, really good quarterback for a pretty good period of time. But I think, I mean, as we all know, he's completely fallen off a cliff. And I think the general theory behind that is that his success was largely based on his mobility. Even though he wasn't just like winning by running, he was winning by throwing a lot of it. But it was his ability to break the pocket and create in space. I hope that there's enough of that with Pat Mahomes where we start to see a decline as soon as we start to see him age. Once he cracks that 30, I don't know how old he is, but he gets into his 30s, the mobility starts to go down, and you become a pure pocket passer. I'm not saying he'd be bad at it, but this dude with all his frickin' dancing around and running and throwing and sidearm bull crap, I mean, we're already seeing it hurt Rodgers, but Rodgers, obviously, it took a lot longer. He had to get closer to 40 before the mobility became that big of an issue. Also, I think when you get older, you're much more afraid of pain. I started to notice that with Rodgers, where he really doesn't like to get hit. He doesn't like to get tackled. He doesn't like to get sacked. And then if you watch that Mike Tyson fight last night, you saw that once. Mike Tyson did not like getting hit at all. You know, you watch his younger stuff, he'll take some shots in the face. It's like nothing happened. He's just like, whatever, I'm just going about my business. A couple gloves grazed off my chin. It just bounces up. Man, he got, especially when they show it in slow motion, his hands start flying around like, ugh. He starts doing these weird, like, swiping motions, like he's trying to swipe the hand away, like, oh, stop, don't do that. It's like an 8-year-old when his brother's, like, trying to slap him in the face. He's swatting the hand away, like, stop. I don't like it. Tyson did not like getting hit last night. I think when you get older, stuff is like, I don't like pain, all right? I'm not 25. I'm not like, I could take it. It's like, no, dude, that sucks, and I don't want to feel that, and I'm never going to heal from that, and I don't want to deal with it. It's like me with cold. When I was in high school, dude, I'm shorts and a t-shirt in like 1.5 feet of snow. Just walk. It hurts, but I'm like, I don't care. I'm going to be tough. Now, dude, I will wear 7 layers because I just don't want to feel it, and I couldn't give a crap what you think about it. I don't ever want to feel cold. I don't want to know. As far as I know, it's summer outside. I wouldn't know. I have no idea what the temperature is outside because I can't feel the air on my skin at all because I hate it, and I don't want to freaking deal with it. But also in terms of do I hate them more than the Patriots? I think so. Maybe not in terms of like peak hatred. I don't know that I'm at peak hatred with them. But I know I didn't hate the Patriots as much as I hate the Patriots now, as early as I hate the Chiefs. So, I mean, it was, 15 minutes into their reign when I was just like, bro, I can't take anymore. I think by the time they won about 1 Super Bowl and then went back to the playoffs, I'm like, you know what? I don't want to do this. And I think it was because of the Patriots. We just got done with a dynasty. All right, I want to get back to the good old days where there's good teams and bad teams, but we all take turns going to the playoffs and winning in the playoffs and going to the Super Bowl. I don't want to do another dynasty. I don't want to. My good Lord, stop it. I mean, the fact that it's been years since we've even seen another team in the AFC. What was the last AFC team to win? What was the last AFC? How about this? In the last 20 years, how many AFC teams have won Super Bowls that weren't the Patriots or Chiefs? I don't know the answer, but whatever the answer is, sucks.
Hey, what up, Brad?
Hey.
I'm just listening to APOD now, and we're 1265 fan, and then Omar called in about horror films.
Yeah,
and
dude.
I must have missed the original one where 1265 fan called in about horror films, I'm hoping the recommendation isn't a redundant one.
Okay.
Because, yeah, you don't need to hear about the same movie twice, but then if you do hear about the same movie twice, that is a good recommendation. So, anyways, I don't know if you've heard of the Terrifier franchise.
No, I don't think so.
Like, I heard, like, it's a very, very interesting style of horror. Like, I've never seen a kind of horror like it before.
Pictures before.
Because it's kind of like a slasher, kind of like a...
I remember seeing these and just thinking, nah, I'm not doing that. Because it just has the vibe of like a very low budget, very not super scary, stupid, bad acting kind of a thing. And I understand like this is this is up Omar's alley. This is probably up your alley. A lot of people, I don't know, man. I struggle with some of these. It might be great. I'm just saying in general, just looking at it and getting an idea of what this probably is, there's a reason I've skipped it. But since you've recommended it, and since I just finished The Sopranos, so I don't have to worry about like, no, go, but you got to finish it. Got to finish it. Now I can start focusing on some other stuff, and I will focus on the Terrifier franchise.
Supernaturally, like, paranormal kind of horror. It's basically there's this guy named Art the Clown, and he kind of has the personality of a clown, so he kind of has fun with it, and they actually give him a really good personality. And he actually kind of has his own plot and his own storyline, which most horror films don't give to the villain or the I forget what the word is right now, antagonist. But anyways, there's 3 of them out. The third one is, I believe, still in theaters. It was very interesting because it was the first one was a really small, low budget film, which was a decent film. But then it got a cult following, and that cult following crowdfunded it to make the second one. And the second one is probably one of my favorite horror films of all time. It's just incredible. And they introduced probably the best final girl, I think is what they call them. The best good guy or good person in the story. And her name's Sienna. But sorry, I'm not describing it very well. But yeah, if you you said in the Packernet After Dark that you like ones where there's a little bit of humor along with it.
Yeah. And
that's kind of what it is that the entire time Art is doing his thing, he is the clown and he has fun with it, but in dark ways. And it's very, very gory, right? It's very gory, but definitely worth it. There's some scenes that I had turned away. And the weird part about it is that I went to the third one in theaters. Phenomenal experience. But a bunch of parents brought their kids. I'm talking 10 years old or so. Maybe even younger than that. And I'm yeah, this is not the kind of movie you bring your kids to. I don't know what they were thinking. But anyways, if you want a good film recommendation that you can have 3 of them to...
Got cut off there. My parents absolutely would have taken me to the theaters for that. Like I said, since the youngest age I can remember, we go to the movie stores and I'd be picking out horror movies. It was never a problem. Yeah, I'll be sure to check that out. As far as the humor thing, by the way, I just want to be clear because there are some quote unquote horror movies or slasher movies that are meant to be funny, to the audience. I guess what I mean is they say stuff that maybe I find funny because I'm a little twisted, but I don't think it's certainly not meant to be funny as far as, the people in the movie don't find it very funny. They're not telling jokes or being goofy or what. It's not what I mean. Absolute dark humor. Honestly, probably stuff that isn't even intended by the writers to be funny. I'm just a little messed up in the head. I can't really think of example. And even if I could, I wouldn't say it because I would just repeat the line out loud or play it and be yeah, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have told you that I found those kinds of things funny. The only example I can think of, I think I've said this before, and it's not a horror movie, but the bad guy from Speed is my favorite character in that movie, and the guy's hilarious. But I will check out Terrifier. Why don't we take a break, and we'll be back and hear from Daniel from California.
Hey, Ryan.
from California.
Hey.
I haven't even listened to your episode yet about Caleb Williams, the title, why Caleb
Which
Williams
one?
might be Justin Fields 2.0.
Mm-hmm.
I already have a critique. These guys don't even like Caleb Williams, the Bears. They don't even like him. They love Justin. Dude, I already have a critique. He might be worse than Justin Fields because he might be the same player that nobody likes.
Well, I think you're 100% correct. So first of all, a couple things. Number one, let's assume that they are the same as far as their ability to read a defense and throw a football. And I think there's an argument to be made he's worse, which is shocking because I spent 3 years showing you how Justin Fields was not only the worst in the NFL at the time, but one of the worst in history. But anyways, let's just say they're the exact same. One of the things I talk about on tomorrow's podcast is how almost every single player on the offense, all the playmakers, running backs, wide receivers, tight ends, they're all having their worst years. DJ Moore, specifically, you want to talk about somebody that hates this guy? You know, DJ Moore is getting tore up because he's got a bad attitude. He's having a bad attitude. Dude, think about this for a second. First of all, he came to Chicago, bonded with Justin Fields, and had his best year ever. This is a guy who's never had a bad year in his career. He's only ever worked with bad quarterbacks. He goes with Justin Fields, has a 90 PFF grade, like 1,300 yards, more than he's ever had in his career. He's killing it. Then they lock him down to a massive contract, ship off Justin Fields, bring in a new guy that is going to be his quarterback for the foreseeable future. He is having by far his worst year. And he advocated for Justin. Said this, not only is Justin Fields a good quarterback, but he specifically said, I watched the other quarterbacks in college. They're not as good as him. Doesn't matter if that's true or not. It's happening. Right now, it's happening. Keenan Allen is probably playing his last years in the NFL. He signed with the Bears. He is having by far his worst year ever. He's basically a wide receiver 3 for a quarterback that can't play quarterback. And by the way, DJ Moore and Keenan Allen are being put in wide receiver spots 2 and 3 behind a rookie wide receiver who is not better than them, but they're being placed down that pecking order because Caleb Williams has chosen Rome Odunze to be the number 1, just in terms of like who he targets the most. So yeah, they're pissed. Beyond that, you've got half of the Bears fan base, probably not half, but let's just call it that refused to believe even to the bitter end that Justin Fields was the problem. And so they never supported Caleb. They never liked Caleb. They never wanted him here, and they feel vindicated in what they've been saying, which left only half of a fan base that actually even supported him to begin with. And because of what happened with Justin Fields, they're not willing to stand by this guy's side. So pretty much everybody's abandoned Caleb Williams up to this point already. Here's the other thing that I've been saying about him, leaving aside the fact that nobody likes Caleb Williams and everybody's abandoning him already from inside and outside of the building. We're seeing it from the national media too, by the way. Remember, I couldn't find anybody to say anything bad about Justin Fields, despite how bad his production was on the field. Everybody defended that guy to the bitter end. They're not doing that to Caleb. A couple people are maybe taking a little bit of the edge off because bad play calling, bad this, bad that. He's not getting the same treatment as Justin Fields. He's actually being thrown under the bus quite a bit. But let's also look at what I've been saying from the beginning. If he has the same issues as Justin Fields, essentially all you did is you took the worst quarterback in football, and then you took away his rushing ability, which is his only real threat. We're facing Justin Fields that can't run tomorrow. The only thing that was even a little bit scary about Justin Fields is his rushing ability. That doesn't exist. I mean, it does a little bit, the same way that half the league can run, he can run. He can run like Jordan Love can run. He is not some special athletic talent. And so they drafted Justin Fields as a thrower with, Pat Mahomes' legs or something. They built the body upside down. Oh.
Starting there, okay? Turning it on, buddy. I trust you, right? I'm really excited about this one. I've been waiting for this one because we haven't had a Caleb only episode yet this season, so I'm really excited. So I might call back in about an hour, but yeah, I'm pretty excited. I might go get a coffee or something and just like park my car and just like come in an hour late for work. I'm by myself today at work, so I might just I might just have a ball just listening to this. I might listen to it twice. So. All right, let's see what you got. Go Pack, go.
Well, I'm hoping it was worthy of that. I don't know if I hit it as hard as. I mean, from a statistical standpoint, there wasn't as much to go on as I beat up on Justin Fields statistically, but there was a lot of great content provided by other people. So hopefully that was worthwhile. Aaron, what do you got?
Terrifier franchise.
Okay.
That's what it's called, the Terrifier franchise.
Yeah, you said
I
that.
was so rudely cut off there by the 3-minute mark.
Oh, no, we
because
got it.
I was just rambling. But anyways, another like horror film that you can watch. Like I wish it was real, but it's probably just going to be event that is for money and whatever rather than actually a real match. The Jake Paul and Mike Tyson fight.
Yeah.
Like I think in a perfect world where it is a real fight, Mike Tyson just lights up Jake Paul to no end. I think like that in like a real fight, there's no chance that Jake Paul even survives. And
Well, I would look. I bet a good chunk of money on Jake Paul for two reasons. Number one, there is an outside chance that he kind of fakes these fights. I'm a little skeptical of that to begin with, just because, and maybe he has them sign these contracts or whatever. But how do you go to somebody and broach the conversation of faking fights without that ever getting leaked? I don't know. Maybe you have a non-disclosure agreement before we even start talking. I don't know. But I guess the Logan Paul bet was based on two things. One, there's a slim chance that there's some truth to that, and if there is, then obviously that it's baked in. But I also think, look, the guy's 60 years old. I know what he was, but I mean, just look at football players. Most guys that are good football players, by the time they hit 30, they're pretty well cooked. By the time they hit 40, they're completely cooked. 60 years old? I mean, look, I know he looked really good in his like highlight reel things or whatever, punching people or punching bags. It's a different game when you're going up against a guy who's in his 20s, in his physical prime. I mean, you're not just swinging like crazy. You overextend, you're going to get knocked out. So, I mean, guy got tired, he got wore out. I think he got a little shook and scared, and just didn't go very well. But, anyways, that. Again, maybe there's something to that, but I just genuinely think, even if I knew for a fact that this was not rigged, I still would have bet Logan Paul to win because the guy's 60 years old, man. I mean, you take a 27-year-old against a 60-year-old, it's just a huge mismatch. And it's not like Logan Paul has, first of all, almost guaranteed the dude's using steroids, so he's very strong. He's significantly more athletic. His cardiovascular stuff is all better. Probably got a little bit more power than Mike. Yeah, I don't know. I felt very confident in my bet, which is why I put every cent, literally down to the penny that I had left in my account on that bet, because there's no way. There's just no way. And don't get me wrong, I wanted to be wrong. I absolutely did. Even with the money, it's like, come on, Mike. If Mike laid this dude out, that would be the greatest thing ever. I wanted to be wrong, but I figured out pretty quickly. I think after the first two rounds, I sent the text out. I'm like, oh, he actually looks pretty decent. By round 3, it was like, okay, this is over. He's already cooked.
that's going on tonight.
Oops.
So I'm actually going to watch that for once because it's just on Netflix. I don't think you have to actually pay for it.
Right.
But yeah, so hopefully Mike Tyson just rocks Jake Paul's world. And like, yeah. But anyways, so this game this weekend, I am very, very excited for it because it is one of the games that, despite the Vikings also playing at noon, the Packers are also on the TV. They're because it's on 2 different networks, and for some reason they granted us access to it here in Minnesota. So yeah, I am very excited for this game. Hopefully, we see some good stuff. It doesn't look like it's funny. Like the Packers are coming together. The Packers are playing for each other, and the Bears are like, yeah, screw that guy. So like everybody on their team, like nobody likes each other there. I don't have really much to say about it. I just want to watch it. I just want the game to get here already. But yeah, if you want something to watch in the meantime, I think Terrifier is on Peacock. I don't know about the second one. I don't know, because I'm like the type that if I like movies, I don't care where they're streaming, I just buy them. Right. So I don't know where Terrifier 2 is streaming. It might be on Peacock or somewhere, but I definitely recommend Terrifier Seer franchise, specifically the second and the third one, but the first one provides some context for you to understand some of the character in the third one. Anyways, I'm going to head out now because I'm on my way to work. So, yeah. Peace out and happy game weekend, Ryan, without the B.
Well, I found the first one on Peacock, which I do have. I found Terrifier 2. We'll have to see what happens beyond that, but you mentioned 2 is your favorite. So if I don't like the first one, I'll give the second one a shot. If I don't like the second one, I think I'll just be done, because if you're saying that's the best one, we'll just go ahead and leave that alone. But yeah, I'll do that. All right, we got 3 calls left, and 2 of them are from Kyle. So rather than splitting those up, let's just take our last break right now. We'll come back and hear from Kyle from Madison.
Hey, what's up? It's Kyle from Madison.
What's up?
You guys are talking about horror movies and, good actors doing crazy really well.
Yeah.
And I know it's not a horror movie, but one I would recommend from like the first half of the 1990s is a movie called Leon the Professional.
Oh, it's a great movie.
Or a lot of people just call it The Professional.
I know exactly who you're talking about, and you're right.
So that movie has, I believe that was Natalie Portman's breakout role. She's like 12 or 13 in that movie.
Yeah,
she just gives like a freaking, and probably should have been nominated for an Academy Award.
Everybody in that movie is fantastic. Natalie Portman is very good. Leon is very good, and then I'm blanking on his. I just mentioned him yesterday because he's in another movie that somebody else mentioned. It might even been in one of the. It doesn't matter, but oh my lord, the bad guy role that he plays, unbelievable.
That was her breakout role. But Gary Oldman,
there it is.
Who one of my
Holy
favorite
crap.
actors. He can do a lot of things, but man, he can do crazy.
Fifth Element. He's phenomenal in The Fifth Element, but yeah, he's even better in The Professional.
Great. And so it's not a horror film. Portman, her character, she plays a girl lives in an apartment where the family's taken out by a rival mob, and Leon is a cleaner, slash hitman for a different mafia boss who lives in the building, and she takes refuge with him. And Gary Oldman plays this psychopathic, dirty cop. Man, like when they really nail a role like that, you're uncomfortable the whole time. You know what I mean? You really don't know what this dude's going to do. Freaking Gary Oldman in Leon the Professional. Check it out if you haven't.
I have. I watched it semi-recently, probably within the last, 6 months or so. I know I watched it again. It's one of those, you got to at least watch it like once a year. It's a very, very, very good movie. Kind of, I don't know if dark is the best way to put it, but there's like a very depressing kind of vibe to it. I tend to like those movies. The one I've mentioned that I really like that is not very well known, but it has a similar feel with the very depressing music and the very, like everything's sad. Like they try to put out a sad, depressing vibe with the music and everything else that's in there. Always outnumbered, always outgunned. Very similar. Always very depressing, somber music and everything else. But yeah, that is a great movie. The way that, I don't want to give anything away, but the way he kind of gets over on the guy at the end. For Bachila. Let's see what the robot can come up with as far as that's concerned. Hans Gruber from Die Hard. Man, there have been some. Now I'm getting some flashbacks. I don't know. Hans is pretty good. I haven't seen Die Hard in a long time. I'm not one of those guys that watches that for Christmas, although I should. It's been a long time, bro. My mind's just blown. I got to go on a Die Hard little watch party here because I haven't watched any of them in a while, and there's some really good ones. I don't know which ones are which, but some really good ones. Anyways, I'll just kind of no comment that one. I know Hans is pretty good though. Ooh, Anton from No Country for Old Men. That's good. That's a really good one. Dude with the super deep voice that kills people with that little cow killer thing. ridiculous. The Joker from The Dark Knight is one of the best all-time bad guy acting performances ever. Norman Stansfield from The Professional, very, very good. Corrupt DEA agent. I haven't seen Inglourious Bastards, so Hans Landa, I don't know. The T-1000 from Terminator 2 is glorious. Another Hans Beckert from M. I don't know what that is. Oh, Amon Goth from Schindler's List. That guy, that is a great character. Pardon you. Talk about dark. I mean, that's one of all the movies where you hate to admit that you like a character. That's probably number one on the list because it's basically like a real thing. It's like a Nazi shooting innocent people, including children, it's a very, very, it's one of the best. If I could recommend like a movie for anybody to watch, that might be at the top of the list. Not just because it's a great movie, but it's a great story and a real life story. Bricktop from Snatch, I don't know. Dennis Hopper from Speed, I mentioned. One of my favorites. A few others, I don't know these. Darth Vader from Star Wars. Not my cup of tea, but you got to give it up to Darth Vader. But yeah, those are some good ones. Anton, the Joker, T-1000, obviously. Amon, all good stuff.
Hey, Kyle from Madison. Hopefully this gets on before game time, but
I got you.
If not, I'll call back with this question. But you were talking about the penalties and how, the Ravens and Chiefs and some of these other teams that are really quite good are kind of leading the pack with penalties this year, and so maybe we shouldn't quite despair so much. And I was just wondering about that. Is that, when you're looking at these most penalized teams, is that broken down like as a percentage of how many plays they run? Or do generally more successful offenses, at least, how should I say this, offenses that generate more offensive plays, you'd have more plays, you have more opportunities to be penalized, I guess. So the metrics that you've mentioned, and I've kind of just heard them mentioned on the radio and whatnot, but I'm wondering if people are referring to the percentage of plays which result in a penalty, or just the total number of penalties? Are we going by yardage, or how do these metrics work on the penalties? Because that is interesting. And depending on your answer there, I mean, maybe that tells us a little different. I'm sorry, and maybe this is a feel thing instead of anything based on fact, but sure seems like, though, you've got a set of however many teams that are probably some of the few teams that are good enough to overcome penalties, Like there's probably, if you look up some metric on, I don't even know what that metric would be, but if you created one that you were satisfied showed how well teams overcome penalties, maybe it's you pick up the next first down after 10 or more yards or whatever. I mean, there's going to be probably a pretty small group of teams that are actually good enough to overcome penalties, you know what I mean? Which I think is interesting also. But no doubt there is going to be, I don't know what the curve looks like, but at some point, I mean, more penalties equal just damage to your offense, damage to your win probability in my mind. I mean, and it's when they are too, you know what I mean? Like these first quarter holding penalties, probably they hurt you, but they don't hurt you like a 60-yard pass interference penalty in the fourth quarter with the game on the line, you know what I mean? So I don't know, I'd just be interested if you had any extra nuggets on that. Bottom line, we need to clean that up though. All right, peace.
Yeah, so a couple things. First of all, I didn't mean to make it sound like it's not a big deal. That's not what I meant at all. All I said was I felt better seeing that other good teams are also struggling with the same things that we're struggling with. Because, like I said, it always feels like the good teams are not making these mistakes, and so it's embarrassing because we can't be like those other good teams because we're doing the same. We're doing this stuff, and really that's not true. There are other good teams who are struggling as well, including Baltimore. But it is damaging and it is detrimental, and it is going to probably keep you out of actually winning some very important games. And I think that's true for Baltimore as well. I didn't realize they're having those issues, but I guarantee if that continues through the postseason, they're not going to the Super Bowl, and they're certainly not winning a Super Bowl because you're going to find really good teams that generally are more disciplined. You know, like Kansas City is a very disciplined team. So I didn't say it on there. I did do yards and I did penalties. I didn't do per play. They have per game and per play. I just went with per play here. So this must be plays. No, that doesn't make sense. Oh, per 100 plays. Okay, that makes. I was going to say, you don't have 5 penalties per play. That doesn't make any sense. So per 100 plays, the Packers are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They're 6th. So I think that's probably a little higher. Baltimore is still above us, though. They're 3rd. They have 5.089 penalties per 100. We have 4.81 penalties per 100. And then if we look at net, which is, how many penalties we have more than our opponent does, we are actually... Oh, no, that must be reverse of what I'm thinking it is. So then we are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're still 6th. Baltimore moves up to number 1. 0.802. So whatever that is. It gets even better when you look at net yards. They're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12th. With Baltimore number 1, Philly number 2, Detroit number 3, Houston number 4, then Denver, San Francisco. I mean, these are largely very good teams that have the most net yards against, which also struggles or hurts the any sort of biased narrative for these teams, especially. I mean, I don't know if they do. I know the Packers have always had that biased narrative thing, which has always been stupid. However, the Chiefs are one of the least penalized, and as far as net benefit, it certainly is in their favor. They're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th most benefited from penalties. Could just be more disciplined, but, I don't know. So, again, the main thing is I'm not at all saying it's not a big deal. It's a huge deal, and we can see it. I mean, when a 20-yard run gets erased, when a field goal turns into a punt, when a touchdown turns into a field goal, I mean, these things, it's very obviously a big deal. But, all right, last call, Nate from California. What's going on?
Hey, Ryan. Nate from California here. I just want to give you a little appreciation for your dedication to hating on the Bears, this laughing at the enemy stuff. That's my favorite content.
Good.
I love the callers. I love talking about, Packers offense, defense, but nothing is sweeter than dunking on the Bears. And I don't know what kind of person that makes me. Maybe that's not good, little schadenfreude.
I get it.
Hating on my enemies makes me happy, but man, I just appreciate all the hard work you're putting on. The Bears still suck. Go Pack, go.
If somebody would have asked me to do a week-long laughing at the enemy, I would have said it's not possible. But there was just so much content. I think I realized very early that this might be potentially when I had, like I said, that first day, when every other post was something, whether it was a national media person, a Packers person, or even a Bears person just talking crap. Oh, what a terrible throw. Watching the Badgers game here. Got an opportunity to go up 7-6 on the number 1 team in football, and you just airmail it. But after that first day, I had all those tabs open, and I went through 20% of them was an entire episode, and I realized every time I would scroll, there's just another one, and another one, and another one, and another one. I couldn't get rid of them as fast as I was adding them. So, it's kind of one of those, as I got halfway through the week, I was like, are people kind of getting tired of this? I know that's everybody's favorite, or at least that's what I get the most positive feedback for, is laughing at the enemy. But is it too much? Is there such a thing as too much? But I was enjoying it so much, I guess I didn't super care. Didn't really check into the stats aren't great because it's been a bye week. It's been 2 weeks since we had a Packer game, so it's dying, but I'm hoping I can stop the bleeding. Actually, you know what? We just got a call here. Pac-Man Jersey Jim, that's good timing. Let's go ahead and do Pac-Man Jersey Jim, and then we'll get out of here pending another call.
Hey, Ryan. How you doing? Pac-Man Jersey Jim.
What's up?
This might not make the podcast.
Just called you.
You say not to call too early, but I'm just watching my favorite college team, Notre Dame, and you guys might not like that, being from Wisconsin. I like the Badgers too, but, I'm a Notre Dame guy. And I'm watching something funny. The quarterback for Notre Dame is Riley Leonard. And I know this kid is never, ever going to make the NFL, no matter how much you want to hype it up. They're 8. He's pretty much garbage, right? You know what I mean? Just like most Notre Dame quarterbacks besides Joe Montana. But I noticed something really cool what he did today. He was like, you know what? I'm going to sit back, and if I have nobody to throw it to, I'm going to throw it out of bounds. And I'm like, wow, that's brilliant. Even from Riley Leonard. Like, how do you not know to not throw the ball out of bounds? And I'm thinking about like a couple of weeks ago, you know, with the Detroit game. And I'm not trying to shit on Love. I love Love. But I think he should probably study Riley Leonard a little bit more. Like, hey, man, this guy's never going to be shit in the NFL. You are in the NFL. You should probably clean up your game a little bit. I'm hoping tomorrow against the Bears that he cleans up all this stuff. And, you know, not only that, the rest of the team. As you've heard a million times, we're all sick and tired of the stupid mistakes.
Yeah.
We got to clean this up. We need to, reinvent ourselves. Hopefully tomorrow we come out with a different attitude.
Yeah.
Hopefully, 2 penalties, the whole game. Let's make the Bears look like the assholes that they are, right? And I don't know. I really don't know what else to say to that. It makes me nervous tomorrow because if we lose or if we come under that 6-point deficit that we're supposed to beat them by, I'm going to be pretty pissed off. And I'll try not to call you during the game because that could kind of jinx. And I also have another jinx that I'll explain to you.
3-minute got him. We got another one coming in here. What the heck? I was going to say something. I forgot what it was. Oh, I was going to say you're really pushing my my laziness here. I'm determined to just let the language go. But we're pushing the limits here. But I'm going to continue. I'm going to fight through them, and I'm going to continue to be lazy.
Anyway, Ryan, I know we hit the 3-minute point. I never do that. But anyway, if you didn't hear anything about the gold Packer hat thing I got in my room here about the situation that thing might be cursed, give me a call back, or I'll give you a call back rather, obviously, and we'll discuss this tomorrow. I'm not wearing that shit until I know.
Yeah.
This is out of my system. So, let's go Pack, and you guys have a good one. Peace.
Yeah, well, hopefully we can, we'll talk about it tomorrow after the Packers go on to win, and we won't need to really worry about any kind of jinxes. We can all just laugh about, jinx. You think a jinx would be strong enough to overcome that? Ha, LOL jokes. But until then, we're just going to have to, hope that everything goes okay, I guess. We'll see how it goes. All right, I don't see any calls coming in here, so Pac-Man, glad I caught you last minute there. But I'm going to get out of here, and we finally get Packers. It feels like it's been a month since we had a Packer game. Finally get some Packers tomorrow. So have a good night. I will talk to you tomorrow. Have a good one. Bye-bye.